2 weeks ago, Kelsey and I had a Q&A webinar where we were just answering your questions. And 401ks came up in a variety of ways because there was just so much information around them, so much value. And we started elaborating on them because we got on the topic of the end of the year, what you can be doing for the end of the year to be planning and preparing for your tax strategy. With a 401k account, one of the main things that you want to consider is that if you want to take advantage of it for this current year, it needs to be established this year. And I'll elaborate on that in the sense of, say you want to make a contribution, but you're not fully ready to do so because you're trying to lower your tax liability. If you have a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, you could establish your plan next year in January, February, March, and make a contribution dedicated for 2024. And this is now considering in 2025. However, with a 401k plan documents are created for the plan. It's not the same as a traditional and a Roth. They are a little bit more complicated. And those plan documents must be created and established, signed by you as well, the account owner, within the plan year that it was created. So if you are trying to open a 401k, we wanted to have this now because you literally have about 3 to 4 weeks to sign up before the cutoff, because we have a process that we must follow, and then the documents get sent over to get created by our third party, and those take time to then get to you to get signed. So you really have until the first week of December, which I believe is like December 6th is that Friday. So that's kind of the cutoff if you do want to open a 401k. So just keep that in mind. Everything that we're going to be talking about today is going to be 401k related. So if anything that we cover today does interest you, we're going to go ahead and drop a link into the chat. And then that will be your link to schedule your call. We'll help you, walk you through the process, answer any more questions that you may have so that we can get that account established and you could take advantage of it for this year. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Amber, hello.
Hello. Great intro. That was, you covered a lot really quick there. I love that.
did.
We're
And
catching up, right? We
we had a lot of time kind of wasted with the technical difficulty. So I wanted to kind of get through that and get us started. We have a little presentation that we'll cover and we'll kind of go through that. It'll help explain a lot of this stuff. But if there are questions, drop them in the Q&A section of the Zoom webinar, and we'll be able to see those and answer those towards the end of the webinar, because we do want to cover yours. And then one of the things that kind of just came in is from Ray. And does this apply to self-directed 401k? Yes, Ray. Horizon Trust is a self-directed custodian. That is our sole focus, and we primarily do self-directing. If we can actually pop up our disclaimer onto the screen by hitting the still button right there, we'll be able to show our disclaimer so that Horizon Trust is a passive custodian, and as such, we only perform the duties of a custodian. Horizon Trust does not provide or sell investments, nor offer any legal advice. So with that, we'll go ahead and kind of cover that the information kind of outlined in this webinar is informational purposes. We're not financial advisors. You're going to want to speak to a CPA. If you are establishing a 401k, there are a lot of strategies or steps, maybe not strategies, steps that you need to ensure you have before you can open the account. So should we just get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right. So let's start the presentation if you can, Alicia, and then we'll kind of go ahead and get started.
So Horizon Trust, obviously, we are all here to learn more about self-directing your retirement account. As Alex mentioned, that's our main focus here. All of our accounts are self-directed and typically retirement plans of some sort. So we'll focus on the 401k today. Let's click through this. So you may wonder, do I qualify? And so this just kind of gives you a breakdown of who qualifies. The biggest piece with these 401ks is you do have to have a sponsoring company. And Alex and I are going to break that down a little bit more and what that looks like. But basically, you have to have a business or some form of sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, C Corp, S Corp. It kind of breaks that down there. But you need a business to sponsor this plan. And I always explain it to my clients in a way that it's kind of like Horizon, right? In this case, you're going to be both the business and the employee for these 401k plans. And so Horizon is a company. I'm a W 2 employee. They provide a 401k. I contribute, they contribute. That's how it works. In these plans, you're going to be both Horizon and the employee. And of course, we'll dig into that a little bit, but that's how you can know if you qualify. You have to have that sponsoring business, an active company that is generating income so that you can take advantage of some of the tax benefits and contributions that you can have within these plans.
And you'll notice that here on this slide, for those of you following along with the presentation, it does say individuals without any W-2 employees. So that's the
Yes.
key. That's the
Thank
key
you.
word right there.
Hmm.
So it doesn't mean you can't have employees. They just can't be W-2 employees. So if you have a contractor that you hire, a
1099.
1099,
Hmm.
something like that, that's a key point right there that you're going to want to keep in mind and consider for this. And normally these are solo accounts. So you
Hmm.
are the sole member of the business. There are situations where you can have a partner. So
Hmm.
Amber and I could be the partner of a company that we work at together and that we co-own. It could be
Hmm.
50-50 split or however that's partnership is set up, but that's things. The other thing is spouses. So if your spouse, if you're married and you and your spouse are in business together, then that sponsoring company that we've talked about, the sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, all those can be you and your spouse.
Yep. And then we can set up your individual 401k plans underneath that business that you guys have together.
Mhm.
So, some of the advantages of the 401k, we kind of touched on this contributions. So, again, it comes down to, I don't know, maybe this would be a good place to, I know we were going to break it down. I don't
Pull
know
it up.
if we're ready for that.
Sure.
But when it comes to making contributions in these accounts, again, they're going to be made up of two parts. One is going to come from the business itself, and one is going to come from the employee. And this is how we're able to really take advantage of just maximizing what we're able to contribute to this. Many of you may know or may not know with an IRA or a Roth IRA, any type of individual retirement account, you're capped at about 7,000 if you're under the age of 50 for contributions. With the 401k plans, you can contribute up to 23,500, as you can see in the first part there, as the employee of the business. That is 23,000 that you're paying into your retirement plan from money that you made as the employee of your business. Now, with that, your company can also contribute up to 25% of that compensation. And so I'll use a round example for you just to put some numbers out there. If you have a business and you pay yourself a reasonable salary of $50,000 for the year, as the employee, you've paid yourself 50,000, you can contribute that 23.5 to your retirement plan, so to this 401k that we set up, and then your business can match 25%, which is about 12.5. Now you get to add all of that over $30,000 into this retirement plan, and because all of our accounts are self-directed, you can now take that 30,000 and invest in alternative assets like real estate. It's kind of the go-to for most of our clients. You're not limited to that. You can invest in all kinds of things. I was just talking with some clients today about some creative things that our clients like to do, and so there's really so much flexibility with these accounts, and that's why we love them. You're not just stuck in the stock market, you're not just stuck in real estate. You can truly diversify in everything within these retirement plans. So that is the goal here. Anything you want to add to that? I kind of ran through it. I know we did. I didn't talk about the catch-up contribution. If you are over 50, there are more benefits. Of course, even with a traditional IRA, you get $1,000 catch-up contribution. With these 401k plans, as you can see here on the slide, you do get 7,500, which, that's $31,000 that you can be bringing into this 401k plan. And I think the next slide kind of talks about taxes. So let's see here.
So, and for the reference, actually, before you do move on, in just the past week or so, I want to say the IRS actually released their contribution limit increases for
Yes.
2025. So, in this slide, if you'd notice right there in that contributions, like word right at the top, right underneath it, it says 2025. So, these are the numbers available for 2025. They're a little bit lower for 2024. So, if you do want to take advantage of it for this year, then that's then
23,000
then you're going to
even.
look at the 2024
Mhm.
contribution limits, which we shared that sheet available last time on our website, horizontrust.com. Under our form section, we have a one pager document that shows the contribution limits for the year of 2024. So So you can access that document and see how much you qualify for. And then with this, so we're giving you kind of rough numbers here on this
Yeah.
slide. It's presented and everything. And this is more for informational purposes. You're going to want to work with a CPA financial advisor who is looking at your books and analyzing how much revenue is being made to
Mhm.
actually figure out what that exact number is that you can contribute, because you don't want to go above what is allowed by the IRS. And, below is always an optional thing
Mhm.
on the below factor. But if you can take advantage up to a certain amount, why not take advantage of that?
Yeah. And on these, to that point, you can contribute a lot more. So, you can contribute up to, what is it, 70,000 they changed it to. So
Yeah,
looks like
yeah.
70,000.
I believe it was
Um,
69,000
it
total for
was.
2024, and now
Mhm.
2025 is 70,000. So it's like an extra 500 for both the employee and the
Mhm.
employer.
Yeah, makes sense. So again, that's a huge number, putting that away into your retirement account from money that you're already making in your business. And there's going to be tax benefits to making these contributions, which hopefully is on my next slide here. We'll see. It's going to jump into loans. Well, I want to touch base on the taxes, maybe just
Sure.
because we're already here. So when we're making these contributions, the big thing and how the way I explained all the time is you get to really double dip, right? Because we're making a contribution as the employee, and then we're also making a contribution as the employer. And therefore, we're getting to write off both of those contributions, both on the personal side and the business side. So back to my example earlier, if you contribute that 23.5, that's a tax write off for you personally. Huge for us, especially if we're trying to bring down taxable income. Your business also gets that 12.5 to write off. We always need business write-offs. So again, you're making money both on, tax write-offs and contributing to this retirement plan, and then turning around and investing those funds for the benefit of your retirement account. So really important
Yeah.
there.
No, those are great points.
401k loans. This is everyone's favorite feature. A lot of
Mhm.
times I have set
100%.
these accounts up just for this feature right here. A lot of times people just need extra cash. Maybe they need the money for, a down payment on just a rental property that they want to have personally, or they want to pay off credit cards, or my favorite example, because I went to Hawaii recently, take a trip to Hawaii. So, whatever you may want that loan for, whatever you may need it for, this is the only type of account that we offer that enables you to be able to borrow against it. And so, you're very much your own bank. Instead of going to Wells Fargo and getting a loan that you have to pay back, and you're giving that bank all of your interest, you're able to borrow against your own retirement plan 50% of the account up to 50,000. So, for example, if you have, I don't know if there's examples on there, but if you have 100,000, then you in your account that we roll over, then you can borrow up to 50,000 of that. If you only have 50,000 that you're rolling over, you can only borrow half the value. So just always keep that in mind. That's going to be 25,000. And we help you through this. Horizon's super hands-on. I love that about our company. So when you're getting to these points and you're wanting to take loans, you have questions, we're here to help you through that process. But just such a huge asset to your retirement plan is having this loan feature that you can borrow against it. I like that it mentioned here no credit checks or approvals. That's a really key point, something that I actually really never talk about. But if we are going to get a loan from just a traditional bank, they are going to look at our credit. Can we even afford to take this loan?
Hmm.
And with this, because it's retirement money, as long as you have the funds available, you can borrow against it. And to the point here on the next bullet point, the terms are long. It's 5 years that you can extend this loan out. There's no early penalty, so if you are able to pay it back within a year or 3 years, so whatever that looks like within that time of 5 years, you can always pay that back, and then you can borrow the money again, which is great. And so again, we can help you through that process. The interest rate, because these are self-directed, you get to pick that. So the lowest that we accept as a custodian is 2%. You can go all the way up to prime plus two. So it just kind of depends on what your needs are for that. I've had clients that definitely do play the prime. They're like, I want to get all that interest because we're not getting anything on these loans. This money that you borrow, the full 50,000, we'll just use as the example, goes to your personal account. You can use for whatever. All of the repayments, the principal plus interest, go back into your retirement account as well. So if you borrow 50,000 and you pay $10,000 in interest, at the end of this loan payback, you're going to have 60,000 instead of the 50,000 you borrowed. Everything goes back into your plan. So, um, just again, it's a win-win. There's really no there's no downfall to these loans because again, you're you're coming up with the terms, you're getting the money, and you're getting all the interest. So, um,
So those are some great points. And before we move away from 401k loans,
yeah.
because this is one of the hottest conversations that everyone wants to know about on the loans, it's one of the key advantages of having a 401k account. No other account allows you to take a personal loan that doesn't affect you in the way of tax penalties.
Yeah.
So anything
Good
that's
point.
tax
Mhm.
penalty, it will be kind of affected in that regard.
This is not a distribution. That's a good point to mention. It's not a distribution. So, you're not, this isn't, counting against you. You're not having to pay taxes on it. It is simply just a loan to you.
Um, and I want to share this. Let me see if I can share my screen simultaneously.
I'm nervous with with our day today.
Let's see here. Should be able to do it. Here we go. All right. It looks like I can share my screen. Perfect. So let me hide a couple of things here just because there's a lot of things in front of it. It's from the Zoom webinar that you guys can't see, but I can see, and it's a little bit in my way. And I need this to kind of move too because I can't see. There we go. All right. So what I'm showing you guys right now is an amortization schedule calculator. So Amber
Oh,
can't see it on the screen,
yeah.
but I have it
You
here in
can see
front of
it.
me.
Okay.
Yeah. So this
This
is
is a
actually
great tool. I
so this
love
is
this.
actually available on our website,
Mhm.
horizontrust.com. So it's listed in the same place as our form section, right above the loan applications. So if you do want to take a loan once you establish a 401k, this is the form that you would use to take the loan. Well, we have the amortization schedule, and this schedule, once you click create schedule, will actually load up this calculator. It's going to actually go ahead and let you play with the numbers.
Mhm.
So, like we said, the maximum that you can take is 50,000 or 50% of the loan. You can set up your payment frequency between monthly or quarterly, and then play with your interest rate. So anywhere from 2 to 20%. So we always recommend that you speak with a financial advisor or look at what you can afford to pay. And this
Mhm.
tool is going to help you see what that is. As you can see here, right now, it's that $50,000 loan because I didn't really mess with it for 5 years at a 9% interest rate with monthly payments. So you're going to see that my payment is going to be $1,000, 1,037. So can I afford $1,000 and 37 or $1,037 each month for my loan? Yes, I can. Cool. Then this is a good option because remember, you're repaying yourself all this interest every month. So that's what you kind of want to look at. If you can't afford that, if that's too high, or maybe you can afford even more, you can raise it up or raise
Mhm.
it down. And as you can see here, that number is changing in real time. So you're seeing actively how much you're going to pay. And this is a very neat tool because one of the things that you want to consider with a 401k loan is you have to make a payment at least once a quarter.
Yeah.
We recommend monthly because it helps keep your payment at a lower value
Mhm.
and it helps you be more consistent in not missing a payment. Because if you miss too many payments, then you default on your loan. At that point, the loan can be distributed and that would be a taxable event. And that's something you want to avoid. You don't
Yes.
want to have your loan be distributed because you're taking advantage of the 401k for this feature to not be taxed on money that you're taking. So you don't want to default. So that's where this tool is going to come in so much use to figuring out your loan terms. And our team will help walk you through this calculator.
Mhm.
They'll help build the amortization schedule, but it's fully available on our website for you to be able to play with and use.
I love that. That's great. I'm glad you're able to share that too because it is such a useful tool. I use it every day, even when I'm going through these consults and clients have questions. Well, what does that look like? Well, I can tell you it's going to be roughly about X amount of dollars, and so it's helpful. I noticed you put the bullet point on here too about the monthly repayment. We do make it really easy to make these repayments. Is they basically just draft it directly out of your personal account. Something to keep in mind, these are personal loans. These cannot, they're not going to your business. You can move them once they go to your personal account into your business if that's the use that you would like to use it for. But ultimately, this is all a personal loan. So it's done through a personal account and we can draft those monthly payments. So kind of set it and forget it. Don't have to stress and don't worry about any taxable events. So,
Yeah,
well,
and I want to talk about this real quick just because it came in through the Q&A and it's
yeah.
on loans, so it's a very helpful question. Jordy's asking, can multiple loans be taken before one is paid in full? So, yes, Jordy. The answer in simple terms is yes, but huge asterisk, big bold letters. The the key there is that the $50,000 rule and 50% rule still apply.
Yes.
So you cannot exceed those limits. Then from there, it's how much have you previously taken and what was your loan value a year ago. And
Mm-hmm.
this is not a Horizon rule. This is an IRS rule. We follow IRS regulations. So everything that we have to have you follow is stuff that we have to follow by the IRS. So, for example, if I have a loan right now and I took a $50,000 loan, we'll
Mm-hmm.
just kind of use easy numbers.
Yeah.
And a year ago, I owed 30,000 on my loan. So I've already paid 20,000. Then as long as my value allows me to take up to the $50,000, then I can now take that extra 20,000.
Correct.
So that's the two loans right there. So we'll also look at that and help determine how much you qualify for when you are trying to take another loan. So we'll assist you with that. So you're not on your own. You don't have to like figure all this out.
Mm-hmm.
We will pull the information based on kind of dates and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and help you figure out what that exact amount is that you're able to qualify if you do want to take additional loans. We have some people who do take loans on a very often basis. Some people take a loan once a year, other take it as needed. So
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some accounts that have 5 or 6 loans. They'll take
Just keep
5,000,
borrowing. Yeah.
5,000 here, 6,000 here. They take small amounts and they're repaying themselves. And that kind of is smart because they're repaying themselves with the interest and they're making their money as long as it qualifies. So you're helping yourself out. You're paying maybe for a Hawaii trip. You're paying down credit cards that are paying 26, 28%.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge number. So it's just something that you want to kind of keep in mind and consider.
I like
So
how you pointed out too that we help with that. The more I talk with people that are, especially if they're switching from other custodians, how much other people just don't do that stuff. We truly do help you with these documents, with this paperwork, with what that looks like as far as taking the loans and how much more do you qualify for. Sometimes it's just not even known that you can have two loans, and so we do break that all down for you, walk you through that process. Like I said, super hands-on, even though these are self-directed, we're here to help and we have such a great team behind us for all of that.
yeah, and Anonymous just asked, I'm confused. Why are we talking about monthly repayments? Thought we had 5 years to pay back the loan. You do have 5 years. However, the loan must be paid at least once a quarter. We recommend monthly because it gives you a little leniency should you miss a payment. You
Mhm,
still have to make up that payment. You can't just forget about it. At the end of the 5 years, your loan is due in full.
mhm,
But you don't want to just take 50,000 and not make a single payment because the probability of you having $50,000 to repay at the end of 5 years is unlikely.
mhm,
So that's where that monthly payment goes in um, kind of into effect. One thing you can do is defer your first payment.
mhm,
You're not avoiding those payments; those are added to the value. So if you do defer your first 1 or 2 payments, then those are something that get added to the remaining 58 payments.
mhm.
Right? Did my math right? 60 payments over 5 years.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
60 payments. Yep. Yeah. And a lot of people do that. I think that's I'm glad that that was talked about because, you can defer for the first, technically it's like 3 months, right?
I think
So,
2 months because you have to make a payment every quarter. So when you
yeah.
take it, you have to have one at least by the third month.
The calculator calculates that for
Calculates
you,
all
which I love that. But it is great. So if you take a loan out, you can defer those payments out a little bit, not have to stress about it, maybe use that money to make some money in the meantime before your first payment is due.
that. Absolutely.
All right. Ooh, tax-free. So the tax-free portion.
Yeah,
I feel like this is actually isn't talked about as much.
it isn't.
We think 401k, we think tax deferred because that's just kind of how it generally is. But you can set up like we put here, the Roth bucket. And so this is really just a tax-free section of your 401k. So you can have both sides. You can have your tax deferred, which is just, we're deferring taxes, or you can have your tax free, which is very similar to a Roth IRA. And so you're able to contribute those funds, pay the taxes on them. So everything moving forward grows tax free in that 401k plan. And then you can also do conversions within your 401k plan. So Some of you may have heard about doing a Roth conversion where you're taking your IRA and you're converting it to Roth funds. You can do the same thing in the 401k plan. And of course, you're already contributing a lot more. You're able to convert a lot more, or even just contribute directly to the Roth bucket. You don't have to do conversions. If you just want a 401k tax free, we can set up that kind of account as well. So you are immediately just contributing those funds. Now, obviously, you're going to lose some of those tax benefits we talked about earlier. You can't write it off if you're paying the taxes on it. It's a Roth, but you are able to grow all of those tax free. And I am a huge fan of not paying taxes, as I'm sure most of you are. So
Hmm.
it's a great way to just add large sums of money to these 401k plans and grow them tax free.
And last bullet point right there, loan option is available
Yeah.
for the tax-free accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So we just covered loans.
Yeah.
Now imagine doing that inside of a Roth bucket where at the end of however many years you have that tax-free bucket open, you now have all this tax-free interest
Yeah.
growth from your account. So it's a
Exactly.
great option.
One thing I love too, it does mention about no RMDs. So, on any tax deferred account, the IRS does require at some point they want that money. You can defer it for a long time. A lot of us take it out at 59 and a half when we're eligible to. You can defer, you can push it out until you're 73 is when the IRS requires you, which is what that required minimum distribution or RMD is. You're required at 73 to start liquidating that account, to start taking those distributions, paying the taxes at your current tax rate at that time. If you do it in a Roth, in a 401k Roth, or even a traditional Roth, like an IRA Roth, you never have to pay taxes. You're not required to take those distributions. You can even pass those accounts to your beneficiaries, to your family, completely tax free. So, just another great point there with these Roth accounts.
So before we move on from this,
Yeah.
I want to kind of share my screen again.
Okay.
And so someone asked, so every account has both a Roth and a non-Roth 401k with this setup. So that was talking about the Roth bucket. So I want to kind of draw that out so that you
Yes.
understand. So you're going to start at the top with your sponsoring company. Sponsoring co. So this is going to be the company that you are using to establish your 401k account. Every account needs this information so that you can kind of follow along. And actually, Amber, here, I'll rotate my screen so that you can see.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what.
Yeah, just because it's not on that screen, so this way you can see it right here. So you're going to start with the sponsoring company right
Mhm.
there. Then you can open your normal 401k here, and then you can open your 401k Roth. These are two different accounts here. So from there, you're going to want to focus differently. So this is going to be your tax deferred, and then this is going to be your tax free. So from there, like we mentioned, loan option is available for both. And then here, you're not going to be, you pay taxes up front. So we'll have that. And then here are going to be taxes when you withdraw. And apparently I can't spell. So that's all right. So you're going to have your taxes up front and your taxes at withdrawal. So that's kind of going to be what you're going to want to consider. The question was, do I have to pay my taxes? Is that correct? It's like over here. So it's like, do I have to take my taxes when I take my money out? So not over here on this side, but yes, over here. So this one is going to be, this one here is going to be paying your taxes when you're putting the money in. And then the other one is going to be when you're taking the money out.
Mhm.
So you're
Next
able,
webinar, I draw.
yes, sorry. Penmanship. I'm so sorry. And I write in all caps because of my penmanship, and it's still not great. Sorry, everyone.
No, but you're 100% right. Yeah. So you can have both buckets, and when you're taking those withdrawals, if it's in your tax-free portion, that's just that. You've already paid the taxes. You're pulling that money out tax-free, and then you'll have your tax-deferred section. So you can just at that point you'll pay taxes when you pull those funds as a distribution.
Yeah. And as you guys can see, so this sponsoring company up here allows you to have both of these plans.
Mhm.
They're two separate plans, so it is two separate accounts that you are going to need to open up.
Mhm.
They each kind of come with their own fees associated with it, but this allows you to have both options. So
Mhm.
if you are looking to have both options, then this is something to kind of keep in mind and consider.
Mhm.
Um,
And that's a great way to also, take advantage of some of those tax benefits. If you do have both parts to it, both the tax free and tax deferred, you can contribute a little bit to that tax deferred account and still write that off and then still add some to the Roth. So you're still growing that, tax free.
And the next question that's on there, and I'm only gonna cover it because we're already presenting on the whiteboard here, is what is the backdoor Roth? So the backdoor Roth that Amber just mentioned
Mhm.
is moving money from your tax deferred account into your Roth bucket. So you are paying the taxes. You're still not avoiding taxes. You are paying those taxes during this transition, but now that money can grow tax free. If you have a year that maybe you need some,
I would say more the backdoor Roth too, like because that would just be more of a conversion. So we're just converting from traditional to tax free. The backdoor Roth would be more um talked about
right?
if a backdoor is where it's basically a two-step process in more the IRA side. So if you have a traditional IRA and you are over income because there are income limitations to the Roth IRA, we do what we call a backdoor Roth. So you contribute to your IRA and then convert to your Roth. And so again, just a two-step process. I always make the joke. I'm like, I don't know why the IRS makes us go through two steps when the end result is still the same if we were just to
Mm-hmm.
contribute directly to our Roth, but that's the terminology for it. They call it a backdoor Roth. With the 401k, the income limits don't. I think someone actually just popped that question on there about income limits. So you don't have the same income limits with the 401k plan that you would with just a traditional Roth IRA. So hopefully that kind of clears that up. You can contribute directly to that 401k, and it's a huge benefit if you are a high income earner to set up these 401k plans. And again, most of, the entrepreneurs do have an active business, they do qualify, and now they can contribute to that 401k tax free where they wouldn't be able to do that just as an individual Roth IRA.
So I'll stop my screen share here and then we'll continue with the presentation. But yeah, that was a lot of information, and
Yes.
it's already 4:45, everyone. So we are burning through time here, but hopefully you're learning a lot.
Sorry.
Um,
That's what appointments are for.
yeah, definitely. So if
Call
you
me.
if you are interested, yes, definitely give us a call and we can drop a link into the chat to get that situated.
So real quick, we'll just talk about what you can invest in. We kind of touched on it. Real estate's a huge one, and I say real estate all the time, and it's just such a broad term. We say real estate, and typically we think, oh, I'm just going to buy a rental property. I'm going to do, a flip. But there's so much more involved in that. It could be private money lending, joint venture agreements, investing in businesses, getting private equity, you can do syndication deals. That's some of the things on here. Oh, tax liens. That's a good one. But you're not limited even just to real estate. You can invest in crypto, Bitcoin. That's really popular right now. Obviously, the crypto world. So you can do that. You can invest in timber. I always love the farm example. I know we've probably talked about it so much, but it's
Yeah,
still one of my
absolutely.
favorite.
Oh
Like
yeah.
because it was just another really creative way that someone invested in this mango farm. And so they essentially kind of invested in a business that does farming and, plants the trees, harvests the trees, and they get a profit from those mangoes that are sold. And so, again, so much creativity, so many different things that you can do. Precious metals, obviously, a really common investment. A lot of our clients invest in gold or silver. And really it's truly about diversifying. Like that's what I always say, it doesn't have to be all real estate. It doesn't have to be, all stocks or all precious metals. Have money in every platform because it's so important. We don't know what the future looks like, and I think diversifying and having different streams of income is really important. And these type of accounts allow you to do it in one place versus having an account here, having an account here, having an account here. Like it's just a lot to manage. And we already have a lot of things going on in our day to day lives that we don't need seven different accounts to, when we can, simplify it and do everything in one account. So those are some different options that you would have. And again, if you have any questions about things that maybe you're thinking about investing, maybe you're getting a little creative, definitely just let us know. We can always talk about that.
We're good here. So we can resume over here. So one of the questions that came in, and that's why I kind of want to check here. So you are able to do all of that. One of the things that you're able to do is a checkbook LLC, and I'm seeing some questions in the chat about the checkbook LLC.
Mm,
One of the questions initially was which side is it, on the Roth or in the tax deferred, that you can do the checkbook LLC?
both.
The checkbook LLC is in both. You can do it in any Horizon self-directed account.
Mhm.
It just has to be created and established in the name of that account.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how you want to keep the money separate. Um, let's see here.
And I think it's just to touch on that, it is really important if you have tax deferred and tax free funds, you don't want to combine them into one LLC because it does become a tax nightmare for you. So, if anything, we would even recommend that you do have an LLC for each part of your retirement plan. You have your tax deferred account, you have your tax free account. So, when you're investing those funds out and they're coming back in, you know how they're already being taxed. We don't have to sort that out 20 years from now and again get into a huge tax nightmare of what's actually tax deferred and
Mhm.
what's tax free. So
Yeah.
a lot cleaner to do it that way. And you can have multiple LLCs, so it doesn't, you can't. It's not that you can only have one LLC with your retirement plan. You can have your checkbook control for your traditional side, for your Roth side. And maybe you go in on a joint venture agreement and two retirement plans join up together and create a partnership LLC to fund and get some deals done. So again, lots of flexibility, lots of different, strategic ways to do
Yeah,
this.
and we can assist you with that process. So if you do want to start a checkbook LLC, there is very specific terminology. We've gotten questions in the past where I have an existing LLC that I don't really use. Can I just use that LLC as my checkbook LLC for my
Very common
401k, for my
question.
traditional, for my Roth, whatever account you're considering? And the answer is necessarily no. You can, but it's much more complicated in changing everything. So
Mhm.
for simplicity's sake, for convenience sake, and just for tax liability, you want to just start from scratch.
Yeah. It
Make
should
it,
be owned by your retirement account from the get-go because then you're essentially almost transferring a personal asset into your retirement account, which is a prohibited transaction. You owned that business at one point, like you were the member. And so therefore, if you're transferring that and now creating it as a self-directed LLC, an LLC that's owned by your retirement account, it would be very similar to being like, "Oh, I own my primary home. I'm just going to throw that in my retirement account." You can't do that. You have to keep all of these transactions, everything in your retirement account, completely separate from anything you're doing on a personal side.
yeah, absolutely.
No
And,
self-dealing.
and I'm going to share my screen again with the iPad. So I want to share this just because this is kind of something that happens often where there's a lot of confusion on how the process actually works for the checkbook LLCs. So as previously outlined up here, so you have your sponsoring company that sponsors your 401k plan. So that's something that you want to look at. Then you're going to, so I'll redraw it to kind of help outline the process. So we'll start kind of up here with your sponsoring co. So from there, you're going to fund your 401k account or trad, Roth, whatever type of account. You're going to do your SDIRA. Self-directed account is going to be this bubble. Well, no, 401k sponsoring company. Why am I talking like that? This is the first time we're using the whiteboard, so it's a little lost in thought, but we'll do that. Then
401.
down at the bottom is going to be where you actually establish your checkbook LLC. So the reason for this process is because there's two different companies in play here, as you can see. Um, so that's the things that you want to kind of keep in consideration. You have your sponsoring company up here, and then you have your checkbook LLC down here. The 401k sits in the middle, and that's kind of how the money is going to move through the process.
That's
Your
your actual retirement plan is the 401k. That's
correct.
sponsored by that company. You have your actual 401k plan and then move the funds into that LLC.
Yep. Another one of the questions that was in there was if I have the money, and let me pull the question up actually so that I can see it because it was a great question. Nope, lost it. There it is. Uh, Nope. And I did lose my question. I thought I had it saved. Sorry about that, everyone.
One thing while you're looking for that I'll touch on is with these checkbook LLCs, again, really important. I always tell everyone, make sure you're always tagging your actual retirement plan, which is, that triangle that he drew there. We want to always make sure if you are making a contribution, that's going from either, again, depending on how we're making that contribution, from your business to your 401k plan or from you to your 401k plan, and then moving into that LLC. You never want to go from personal or business directly into that checkbook control. We always have to tag that retirement plan because that's the information that us as your custodian is reporting to the IRS. This is important information that needs to be reported on behalf of your retirement plan to keep this retirement plan active in the eyes of the IRS, that keep it, following rules with the IRS. And so you never want to just go directly to that LLC. And also it just creates a prohibited transaction. You can't take personal funds and just move them right into that LLC. So just keep that in mind if you're putting in same thing in reverse. If you now maybe you're 60 years old, you want to start taking some of these funds as a distribution. You never write yourself a check from that LLC. Those funds need to go from your LLC back to your actual retirement plan at Horizon and then distributed to you. Again, it's all about the IRS being involved at that point. We need to mark those distributions, pay taxes if needed. So again, just always kind of keep in mind, always touch that Horizon account. Never just go from checkbook to you or you to checkbook.
Yeah, great point right there. So I did find my question.
Okay.
So Gina was asking, you mentioned before that you may invest in real estate with your money in your self-directed 401k. And there was another question here. So Gina, I will continue there, but Horizon Trust, we're self-directed custodian. We do not help you find your investment or facilitate investments, verify investments. That is entirely up to you. So there was another question in there with, okay, once I open my 401k, are you going to help me find my investment? Unfortunately not. We're not licensed to do that. So that is where you're going to have to do your research, do your due diligence, speak with a financial advisor, CPA, attorney, for whatever it is that you're trying to do. But with that, Gina was asking, so do you need to buy the real estate in the name of your active account or in the name of the solo K? So if you don't have the Checkbook LLC here, then you would want to actually name it in the name of your 401k account. So if you don't have a Checkbook LLC, so no Checkbook LLC, then you would name it Horizon Trust, FBO, Alex Padilla, 401k. That's how the titling would be for that real estate property. Now, say I do have that Checkbook LLC and my Checkbook LLC is Alex Padilla Checkbook LLC, just to kind of keep it simple, then the property would be purchased by that company, Alex Padilla Checkbook LLC, and the property title would go under that. So that's where you kind of want to keep your information outlined. So if you have that checkbook control and you're purchasing the property through your checkbook, then any investment you do, whether you're lending money through private money lending, doing tax liens, property use such as rentals, Airbnbs, anything like that, you will do it in the name of the Checkbook LLC. If you're doing it directly from Horizon Trust, it will be in the name of your account, Horizon Trust Company, FBO, Alex Padilla, 401k, Trad IRA, Roth IRA, whatever type of account it is.
And that's a great question because, with those sponsoring companies, I think that gets really, confusing. It's like, well, what do I put this sponsoring company? You can almost ignore your sponsoring company. It really doesn't have a whole lot to do with what you're doing with your self-directed account other than just that it's sponsoring the plan. So what is required, again, as we kind of covered in the beginning of the webinar, you have to have that active business to create this 401k plan, but it's never really going to be listed on any other documents other than your plan documents when you're initially establishing this plan. And so I'm glad that someone asked that Jeanette asked that because definitely, important to just keep in mind completely separate that sponsoring company. Also, I guess contributions. That's the only other time it would come in, making those employer contributions. But other than that, it's never gonna be listed on any investments or anything like that.
Absolutely. One of the questions that it came in that as we are talking about the Checkbook LLC and all that, I got a lot of questions here very quickly, so I threw my question off. Who is responsible for filing the BOIR for the LLC, me or Horizon Trust? So in that regard, it would be you or the individual. We'll give you the information to complete the BOIR, but you are responsible for doing so. There were some questions in the chat. If you're interested in transferring, how do I do it? Do I need to schedule an appointment? Yes. So we mentioned at the beginning, we hold your hand through the process, and the application is no different. We will help answer any and all questions. So we did just drop 2 links in the chat. So if you're brand new, you don't have an account with us, and you're looking to learn more information about the type of account that's right for you, go ahead and click that first link to schedule a call, and our team will help walk you through the process, answer any and all questions specifically for you, and help get you the account that's right for you, and help walk you through the application to get that situated. If you already have an account with Horizon Trust and you're learning a lot of information here, and you're thinking, hey, I can open a 401k, or I need a Checkbook LLC so that I can start this investment, or anything else that we may have covered today, and you want to know more, as an existing client of Horizon, there's that second appointment link that you can schedule with our concierge team. They'll be able to answer all of those questions. Our concierge team is very knowledgeable. They go through intense training, and when they onboard, and regular training with all departments to ensure they are up to date with all the latest information. So our team, very knowledgeable. We hold your hand through the process. What is different about Horizon from any other custodian out there is our service. Our service is one of the things that Greg highlights and cares about the most. You having a great client experience, your account being great. As a self-directed custodian, there's so much that we are limited on what we can and cannot do. So our service is what we aim to do to ensure that you have the best time and the best opportunities to grow your retirement accounts. So with that said, Amber, any closing thoughts for you?
Like and subscribe. I didn't get to say it today.
You didn't get to say the like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe to Greg's YouTube channel.
You know what?
It's a great, I send it to all of my clients, anyone that I speak with, even for the first time, because there's a lot of information. Obviously we do these bi-weekly webinars, but Greg's on there also, just presenting material all the time, and he is a wealth of knowledge. So, take a second, check it out. Learn a few things. I always say mindlessly scroll. It's mindlessly scroll education. So definitely check that out. And then, yes, we're here to answer all your questions. I know we popped up some links. Schedule a call. It's all about educating, and we can only cover so much in these webinars. And to your point, I know we got a little light start. So thank you all for your patience today, and I hope to speak with you soon one-on-one.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a great rest of your week. It was Veterans Day, so if any veterans are on here, thank you for your service. We'll catch you again in 2 weeks. And that's it.
That's
all right.
it. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's lots more great content for you to learn and enjoy and apply to. And so anyways, click on the link below and listen to more videos, or set an appointment with us. We look forward to hearing from you and also helping you.